So this is going to be a diary form for me when I'm struggling to come up with ideas again, because I feel like I've just broken a creative rut. Creative rut. Creative rut. Sometimes I really struggle to I've hit a bit of a creative block. And for me, the thing that I've been wanting to create more of is videos for YouTube. Now, I went through a period last year where I was creating them fairly regularly, but I was also making videos for other platforms, and it got to a stage where I needed to take a break. Now, the irony in taking a break is that it breaks your momentum and makes it more difficult to create the stuff than it was before you took the break. So overcoming that inertia has been something that's taken me quite a while to be able to do. So these are the things that I've been doing that have helped me to start doing it again. So what's the smallest thing that you can do? We tend to be pretty good at doing this when we're going to procrastinate. So you'll say, I'll just watch one more episode, or I'm just going to spend 2 minutes scrolling and then I'll get back to what I'm supposed to be doing. And that is generally a pretty effective habit at helping you to procrastinate for longer, because in your mind it's a tiny mental commitment, but in reality it becomes a fairly large one. And what I find that this is particularly helpful at doing is saying, I'll do it for 2 minutes. The first one is remembering that there are days where that's probably going to be the only amount that you're going to be able to get done. And 2 minutes of something is 100% better than absolutely nothing. But the other thing is it helps you to actually start doing the thing that you're attempting to do. And by doing something, it makes you feel a lot more creative. I very often come up with ideas when I actually start doing the thing. So I'll have an idea of how I'm going to do it, I start actually doing it, and then I change my mind. And I wouldn't have ever been able to come up with the final idea if I hadn't thrown out 3 or 4 before it, where I was actually doing something. If you imagine it from a health context, if you have set yourself some sort of New Year's resolution as to you wanted to eat more healthily or do more exercise, go to the gym more often, if you had 5 hours over the space of a month, it's definitely better to have done 10 minutes every day than it would have been to have tried to do 5 hours all at once a month. And in all likelihood, if you do 10 minutes or even 2 minutes, you're likely to, once you've started doing it, realise you can do a few more. But it doesn't matter if you don't. But the problem arises when you've got like a really boring thing that you know you have to do as part of something that's creative, and you can't motivate yourself to do it. And this doesn't always work, but introduce some novelty, like for instance, if you normally make videos without shaving, if you normally work from home, try going to a cafe or to the park. I find this quite a lot like going for a walk, or going to an environment. Personally, I find that novelty gives me a reason to be excited about something that I would otherwise be a little bit pressurized by. For me, it works similarly to like when they say you're trying to come up with ideas, then go have a shower. The novelty takes my mind off what I'm trying to do in a way that's then exciting. So if I'm going to go to a cafe where I like the food, then that might inspire me to think, well, I'm definitely going to come up with something because I'm going to go there and I'm not going to sit there and like leave with nothing. And other than the act of regularly committing to making something, the thing that I really want to say is that in recent years I've been way more socially isolated than I was in a work environment than I was previously. Before I moved to Birmingham, I had a business where I had staff. I was seeing people every day and interacting with people, and I had other people who I was responsible for. We're very, very sociable creatures. Clearly you might do lots of your best work while you're alone, but if during the rest of the day and that week you don't see anybody, you will find your energy is drained quite considerably. Consider an activity like dancing. It's pretty easy to do when there's loads of other people who you like who are around and there's some sort of occasion to celebrate, but pretty difficult to do alone in your room for hours. So one of the things that I like to do that's actionable is to do something kind for somebody else. This initiates what's known as the helper's high, which was first documented in the 80s, which is the endorphin rush that you get from doing something that's nice for somebody else. There's some sort of kind gesture, contacting somebody who you haven't contacted for a long time. I find that if I've done that and I've arranged some sort of meetup, or I've got something to look forward to within that week, it's much easier to stay on task and stay motivated than if I become socially isolated. I can become a lot more down, particularly in months like over the winter where you're not really getting very much sunlight either. My problem with lots of these productivity style videos, they're very focused on individual achievement. And I feel like the message that they send is be productive, and that everybody should be having their own business and making absolutely loads of money. And in the extremely unlikely scenario that somebody who followed this advice actually became a millionaire, they'd be creating that all too common story of a miserable millionaire who has no friends because they've sacrificed all of their social engagements for years, because that's what they keep telling them to do. Sacrifice, sacrifice, sacrifice. And they'll get to the stage, if they did miraculously complete their journey, they wouldn't know who their real friends are, whether they were just hangers-on. So the best case scenario is that they end up a miserable millionaire. And why the hell would you want that? Creative Rut. So thank you so much to Gustavo for these and giving me the creative energy to make this video. Maybe that should be the third one, because that is within your control. Do a kind gesture for somebody else, especially if that somebody else is me.